Good day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Dastardly Duos event, giving you a thorough breakdown of the event, the rewards, and some tips and tricks on how to get a great score. Now, the Dastardly Duos event can be located at several locations in Donegal, Stormwind, and Orgrimmar. All three locations are pretty easy to find. There's a giant mark on your map. Press M. Once you're in the area, you'll be able to go directly to the event. Doesn't matter where you go to the event, as long as obviously you are max level to participate in the event. Now let's talk about the main goal, which is the weekly quest. Now the weekly quest will require you to essentially do a couple simple activities and clear a Dastardly Duos. It is not anything more complex than that. The prize changes each week, and you have 8 weeks in total, but there are 3 significant prizes that you need to get. So you basically have to do one quest every 2 weeks. Alternatively, obviously, if you do the quest each week, you can obtain the Dastardly prize, which is fantastic. It is a champion level piece of gear, which is awesome for leveling your ults. This quest can be redone on your ults, but obviously you cannot reactivate the toys or anything. In terms of prepping for the run, there's not too much you need to do outside of the run itself. However, there is Woody the Troll, or Wooden the Troll, and you can find him just behind the area where you take your weekly quest. He will give you a bunch of different food options. The most important will be selecting whether you want the hot dog to appear. The hot dog will double your score, but give you a negative debuff in the process. We'll talk about it a bit later, but it's probably the most significant one. Otherwise, you can just speak to him and tailor them to your needs. Starting a run is easy. You simply talk to Ziggy and you'll be able to get the run started. It's up to 5 players, and if you don't play with friends, the roles and slots are filled with NPC, trust, computer characters. There is no other players in here unless they are already part of your party group. So if you don't want to play with friends, or you don't have friends to play with, you'll automatically be given a computer party. Now pre-run, you're going to want to do a couple of things. You're going to want to eat food, whichever ones you select for certain buffs as per the previous screen. You're also going to want to obviously buff your party if you have any certain party-wide buffs on your character class. And you are probably going to want to drink flasks or have food buffs if you want to give those to your character. On top of that as well, you can actually opt to dismiss the party by speaking to Ziggy before you begin the run. By dismissing the party, you will solo challenge it and basically give yourself a much harder time, but obviously have the chance to obtain even further score. So it's pretty challenging, and it's something that you're going to have to obviously keep an eye on and try if you really want to. So let's talk about the basics of the run. Well, it's actually quite simple. You enter the arena, you pull the mobs, you defeat the mobs. The score is based on how many mobs you clear. The score is based on how much time is remaining. And after you clear the first wave of mobs that exist within the arena, a boss will spawn. Then, once you defeat that boss, a second boss will spawn. The run will end after you defeat the second boss. The second boss will spawn with more ads, and more ads will periodically enter the arena depending on certain conditions, and you can spawn them yourselves if you want to. There are certain key mechanics around the arena to be aware of. Things like cherry bombs, gears, which will increase your timer, but most importantly is avoiding dying, which will dramatically reduce your score and your timer. Now the bosses and the boss basics are pretty simple. The bosses are randomized each and every single week. They are the same per run. So for example, in this week I think it's Glubshock the Ogre, and then there is an orc who I keep forgetting the name of, who is absolutely diabolical, by the way. And these bosses will remain the same. So if I go and redo the run, I will face the same bosses. So if you struggle with them the first time round, you can strategize and prepare for them in the next one. They always spawn with a group of ads around them. It's highly advantageous to prioritize these ads. What is also important is to understand that when the boss spawns, there will also be these walking robots They'll start to walk around the map and deal damage to you with their lightning procs. You're going to want to be wary of these as well, as it can give you some big issues. At the end of your run, once you defeat the boss, you will be given a score. That score is based on several factors, most notably the mobs you defeated. Did you defeat them inside the score modifiers, which we'll talk about just now? How many mobs you defeated, the time limit you defeated them in, how much time is remaining on your bar at the top, and also obviously if you applied any modifiers from the hot dog. So it's pretty straightforward. That total score is based on all of those factors and will give you basically a score at the end. Now the thing is, the score at the end affects certain achievements, which will be crucial towards the toy that you get in week 2, the winner's podium. Outside of that, it doesn't actually affect your score reward. So you'll always get a piece of veteran gear, and your weekly chest will always contain a champion gear. Now let's talk about some bonus tips. Bulwark of the Calling is an item you'll get upon successful run completions. You can use it in the very next run, and it will spawn additional mobs, but only once all mobs are defeated. There is another thing you can do to increase your score, called the Duos Darling. This will require you to first unlock the Duos Underdog, which will require you to die 3 times and complete a Duos. Not too hard, honestly, considering all factors. Once you have completed that, you can then speak to the presenter Vinny, and you can activate the Duos Darling achievements. This will actually give you a big score boost when you are not defeated or when you don't die very often. So it's highly suggested you get it. Then, of course, you need to look at adding on extra time. There are 2 main ways. The first is with the burner clock, which is an item you will get at the end of each run, similar to the Bulwark Call. You can use it in the run to add additional time. However, if you're being attacked, like you see on screen, you will not be able to add that additional time. It has to be used when you are not being attacked, as it's an interruptible cooldown. Secondly, when you're running around the map, you'll see these gears on the ground. Clicking these gears will automatically add time to your timer. The next is the bombs. You'll see these green bombs called cherry bombs. They spawn from defeated props. So when you blow up props across the map, you'll see them. They're highlighted in the distance there. They have a chance to spawn a cherry bomb. You should strive to take out all the props early on and try to kick all the bombs together to create a large overlapping area where you can earn double score. To activate the bomb, you have to defeat mobs inside of it. Once you do so, you will have a permanent score boost. What's super important is that bosses will count for this bonus score as well. So defeating bosses, mobs, pretty much anything inside of this is going to be crucial for you. The final tip is the Master Key, another item you get at the end of successful runs. The Master Key can be used to enter vehicles on the side of the map. These are basically these flying little hovercraft pyro machines. These are important for 2 reasons. One, they give you a brief moment of invulnerability as the machine is attacked instead of you, which can be crucial to avoiding core boss mechanics, but they also allow you to set up some pretty good decent damage and reset up for adds and waves by placing bombs, which do very large damage. Now your main attraction of the Dastardly Duos, outside of the weekly rewards, the champion gear and the pet and mount, which we'll talk about just now, is actually completing the achievements, because the winner's podium toy will adapt and evolve based on the achievements you get, and you can see there the winner's podium. So for every achievement you clear under that achievement, every sub-achievement under there, your winner's podium will get progressively more elaborate. So it's really a bragging rights kind of thing. You can either progressively increase your winner's podium appearance, or you can just sort of sit back, relax, and just do whatever you want. Really, it just depends on your view on it and how deep you want to really go into the Dastardly Duos meta. What is most important though is that a lot of the rewards are easy to get. You don't have to even do well to clear your weekly chest, which is super important, and your weekly quest. And secondly as well, the mount and the pet both drop from the weekly chest. So you should really just strive to do that. You don't even have to participate every week, as from week 4 you'll be able to get the mount. So all you have to do is clear basically 4 quests within the next 8 weeks, and you'll have a really cool little mount called the Tyrannotort. But that's it from me. If you need more help, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, wishing you all the best of luck. I'll do some runs as a separate video for high scores.